Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Juniper Vale. Welcome back to more World Cup predictions using the tarot cards. I got the Bright Tarot. I have the Emerald Knight Oracle, and I have the Victorian Phantasmagoria. So, been having a lot of fun doing this. Thank you for all of your likes and your comments and your subscriptions. Really appreciate, really appreciate all of that. I can't believe I have gotten so many new subscribers. I really appreciate that. And it's great. And I like to hear from you all. So please leave comments. And I do readings for, this is the first time I've done sports readings, but I usually do like current events, politics. I also like to do missing people. So I do different things, not just sports. But the World Cup whole thing was a new idea. And I thought, why not? And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So I really like that. Will I do more sports stuff in the future? Maybe. Maybe. Well, like big events, possibly. Sounds like fun. Maybe like I don't know. You can let me know. Let me know what you want me to read on. So yeah, please leave those comments. You can leave them here. You can leave them on my post page on YouTube, wherever you would like. But again, thank you very much for liking and subscribing. Today is June 19th. It is 4:14 p.m. Eastern Time. The US is currently playing Australia. US is at 2-0. Um, I have that playing on the side, but I'm going to try not to pay any attention to it while I'm reading cards. Today I'll be reading June 25th. I'll be reading three teams, the first three teams that play: Curaçao versus Ivory Coast, Ecuador versus Germany, and Japan versus Sweden. So let us start with Curaçao and the Ivory Coast. Curaçao, let's see. As of right now, both teams have only played one game because they don't play again until June 20th. That is tomorrow. So Curaçao, they lost to Germany 7-1. So that was a big defeat. Tomorrow they're playing Ecuador. For the Ivory Coast, they beat Ecuador 1-0. So that's very interesting. And then tomorrow they're playing Germany. So it'll be very interesting to see how those games pan out tomorrow. So let's see. On June 25th, Curacao and the Ivory Coast are playing at 4 p.m. and they're playing in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So I am going to do Curacao on my left, Ivory Coast on my right. I kind of have an inkling that it will be Ivory Coast that wins, but it's hard to say because Curacao, they played Germany. I mean, that's a quite a team, right? So so yeah. All right, Curacao on my left. They have the Page of Cups, they have the Knight of Pentacles, and they have the Seven of Wands. Ivory Coast, they have the Sun card reversed, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Lover's card. All right, so these are interesting cards. The Page of Cups is a fun card because we see this page has a fish in their cup and they look like they're talking to this fish. So is that fish really there or are they imagining that fish? Did they drink a little too much from the cup? Possibly. Cups are that intuition, social relationships, suits. The pages are about hope, preparation for success. They're a little hesitant. They're kind of like apprentices. Um, so it's a court card, but it's the lowest of the court cards. Um, I would say, let's see, the Page of Cups is about being intuitive, right? He's talking to that fish. Does that fish really exist? I don't know. But there's a lot of curiosity and possibility going on. It's a good time to receive happy news, important information, feeling young at heart. So Curacao, I think this card is just saying that they're very hopeful. They feel very intuitive about the game. Then they have the Knight of Pentacles. Knights are great because they talk about a goal accomplishment. They talk about dedication. Those pentacles, I see them as that physical capability that you need in sports. The Knight of Pentacles is not a fast moving knight. You can see he's like holding on to the pentacle to keep it safe. So his horse is not rearing up; it's actually standing still. He still has that dedication, but he's taking things slower. He's not rushing in. So Curaçao, I don't think are going to be a very aggressive team. By the second half, they have the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands, you can see this person looks kind of like it kind of looks like they're on the defensive. It's hard to say. I think they will be because they have the Knight of Pentacles, who's not very aggressive. So the wands are great because they do talk about that enthusiasm that you need to play a game. But they may be a bit more on the defensive side rather than offensive side. Curacao may be playing it a little too safe. Then we have the Ivory Coast. So they have the Sun card reversed, which isn't that great because usually with the Sun card, you're talking about good fortune. But when it's reversed, you're looking at temporary obstacles. But the good thing about it is the Sun card, so you still can overcome it. Um, there's struggle. There's a bit of a struggle. So they may struggle a little in the first half. But the good thing for them is that because it's the sun reversed, they're not stuck there. They can overcome those struggles. So, and then they get the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is a great card for good luck. You're kind of you they may have some ups and downs, right? Because it's like spinning a wheel. You may have some bad luck, you may have some good luck, you may come back full circle. So, I still think that's a very good card for them. Wheel of Fortune, I think since they had the sun reversed and then the Wheel of Fortune, I think this says that it turns out okay for them. They will overcome those obstacles. And then they get the Lovers card. And all three of these are major arcana cards. Curacao does not have any major arcana cards. So these are very strong cards to have. So I think that's very good for the Ivory Coast. The Lovers card talks about a harmony between team members. They have a harmony between them, so if they have any ups and downs, they're able to make do, and they're able to come on top of those the down parts, right? And then the up parts, they see the opportunities and they're able to take them. So far, I think these are very good cards for Ivory Coast. For the Oracle cards, all right. Ooh, let's see. Ooh, this one jumped out at me. For Curacao, mice, loss, stress, anxiety. Ivory Coast has the mirror, self knowledge, reflection, truth. So I think for Curacao, they're very anxious. They're gonna have a lot of stress from Ivory Coast. They're just not playing aggressively enough. Um, I think Ivory Coast is a stronger team than them. And they're gonna feel that. The Ivory Coast has self knowledge, reflection, and truth from the mirror. And I think that just goes to show that they completely understand their abilities. They have a good outlook on what they can achieve. They're very realistic, and they're going to play that way. They know their strengths, so they're going to play to their strengths. Um, Curacao has the boogeyman. Ivory Coast has clown. These cards are so interesting. The boogeyman is about fear, right? The boogeyman hides in your closets. So I think there that goes with the stress and the anxiety that they're feeling. They have this seven of wands. They're on the defense. The boogeyman is showing that they're stressed. Like they're not aggressive enough. They're coming in a little bit like an apprentice. They're not, they're new in the World Cup, so they don't have that tradition behind them. The clown, I always gotta look up the clown. I can't I get so I see that face. Look at that. That is a scary clown. That clown is menacing. So creepy, illusion, and exaggeration. So I think in a way, this is just saying that that's kind of like what they're going to put on. That's the face that Curacao is going to see from the Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast is just they're going to own it, and the Curacao are they're going to be a little stressed, scared. They're not going to own it. So I'm definitely going with the Ivory Coast here. So congrats, Ivory Coast. Terribly sorry, Curacao. I think it's their first World Cup. It's nice. I like to see the little guys win, but I don't think that's going to happen here. Let's see. So who do we have next? Next we have Ecuador. They're playing Germany. They're playing at 4 p.m. So that's the same time Curacao and Ecuador play, and they'll be playing in East Rutherford, New Jersey. So not particularly very far from Philadelphia. Maybe an hour, hour and a half away if you don't include traffic. Let's see. So Ecuador, their first game was against who? The Ivory Coast, and they were beaten by the Ivory Coast 1-0. And then, of course, Germany played Curacao, and they beat Curacao 7-1. So Germany is coming into this very strong. They're a very strong team. Tomorrow, Germany is playing the Ivory Coast, and Ecuador is playing Curacao. So I think it's safe to say that Germany will probably win. I mean, they're a very tough team. I wouldn't I would imagine anybody who's in the same group as Germany would probably go, "Oh, great. Fantastic. We're in a group with Germany." All right. So Ecuador will be on my left. Germany will be on my right. All right, Ecuador. You have strength. Good. Ooh, you got the tower. Not good. And then you got the five of wands. Germany, Ace of Swords, Seven of Cups, Knight of Swords. Oof. Okay. Well, Ecuador, they come in as a team that's strong and they're like balanced. They're balanced between their emotional strength and their logistical strength. So they do have that going for them, right? Maybe they play pretty well in the first half. But by the halftime, there's the tower. The tower is being struck by lightning. It's falling apart. It's on fire. It's storming outside. People are falling out of the tower. It's destruction. It's not good. That's a very bad card because then they also get the five of wands. Fighting. Look at this. Fighting, 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 putting up a fight. They're in battle. Um, then they're playing with sticks, whereas Germany is playing with swords, right? Germany has the Ace of Swords. So aces are clarity, right? You know your purpose and you are focused. You're starting anew. It's like the Fool card of the Minor Arcana, but they are associated with suits. This one is swords. Swords can be difficult situations, but when I'm thinking of the court cards and the aces, when it comes to swords, it's like ready for battle. We're ready to take charge, right? You have the crown on top of the sword. You're ready to go. Seven of Cups is an interesting card because it's about illusion and delusion. This also represents multiple opportunities. So I think that Germany is going to have multiple opportunities. They don't all work out because, some of these opportunities are kind of like bad things hidden in disguise. You have the snake coming out. Is that snake poisonous? You have this dragon or a lizard. Is that thing toxic? I don't know. Right? I think this is just saying that by the time you're in the mid part of the game, Germany's had a lot of opportunities. They've had some great opportunities that they've taken. Maybe they had some opportunities that they missed. So it could be, opportunities to score goals. Then in the second half, they are the Knight of Swords. So they got that sword again, and they are on it, right? The Knight of Swords is a fast knight. That knight is going. That horse is leaping, right? That knight has his sword up. The knights are talking about that goal accomplishment. They're dedicated. They know what they want and they know how to get it. And I think that's very easily saying that Germany does not tire out. Ecuador feels like they are just battling. They're battling and battling and battling. Whereas Germany feels like they're on a horse and they're just flying through. So, like I said before, Ecuador is playing with sticks, Germany is playing with swords. Oracle cards. Let's see. Ecuador got the ship, and Germany got the tree. The ship is good. I mean, it talks about journey, travel, progress. Maybe they'll do well enough to stay in the group to make it to the that those brackets, right? Maybe. But it also could say are they now on their journey home? Possibly. Germany has the tree, which talks about health and growth. It just, it's like they're playing well, they're healthy as a team, they know what they're doing, their growth, they're gaining goals. Goal, goal, goal. Ecuador has the candle, Germany has ectoplasm. So let's see. The candle talks about illumination, hope, fragility, and vulnerability. So Ecuador, they have a lot of hope. Like I think they have a fighting spirit. Um, Maybe they have some good plays as well, but in the end, I think they're just too vulnerable and fragile compared to Germany. Germany has ectoplasm that talks about evidence, spirit energy, and fraud. So hopefully they will play nice. If they don't, there could be a little bit of a fraud. Maybe they don't, but I don't get anything from the cards that says they're not playing nice necessarily. The illusion and delusion card could could sort of be associated with that, but for the most part, that ectoplasm is kind of like just that the energy that they have. They just seem to have this boundless energy, right? Like the spirit energy. Um, and it's like evidence of how good they are for the most part. I think that's how it is. So I'm definitely going with Germany on this one for the win. I think they're really going to give Ecuador a beating. I'm sorry, Ecuador. Don't lose faith. Don't lose faith, Ecuador. But yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow, who's Germany playing tomorrow? Ivory Coast. Hmm. All right. So next we have Japan versus Sweden. They're playing at 7 p.m. in Arlington, Texas. Let's see. Who has Japan played so far? They played the Netherlands where they tied. Have they played since then? No, they play tomorrow. They play against Tunisia. So they tied with the Netherlands. That's pretty good. Netherlands is a very strong team. Netherlands plays Sweden tomorrow. So Sweden played Tunisia and they beat them 5-1. So Sweden, very strong team. But it's very interesting to see that Japan tied with Netherlands. So I think Japan has some tricks up their sleeve. I think we can say right now that they're probably a formidable team. So I don't know. I don't know how this one will go. I really don't. Sweden, or say Japan versus Sweden. So Japan will be on my left, Sweden will be on my right. The US is still at 2-0 for Australia. 66, almost 67 minutes into the game. I keep looking over there. I'm like, how's it going? Too stressful. Okay, so Japan on my left, Sweden on my right. Okay, Japan. We have the Tower card. We have the Fool card. We have the Knight of Cups. Sweden, we have the Four of Wands. We have the Five of Wands, and then we have the Ten of Swords. Ooh, already to me, like I get this story, right? I get first half, Japan, Tower card, disaster. Something is not, it's not going as planned for Japan. Sweden has the marriage card. This is the Four of Wands. This talks about a very strong foundation. So they're going into the first half very strong. Japan, not strong. However, by about the midpoint here, we see Japan get the Fool card. And that says Japan goes, okay, we're going to try something else. We're going to start a new journey in this game. And we're going to not do what we did in the first half. Sweden now sees a Five of Wands. They see battle, right? They're like, uh-oh. Japan has changed their plan, and now they're really giving us something, right? They're giving us the battle. Last part of the game, Knight of Cups. Japan has the Knight of Cup. The cups are the social cards, the intuition. The knight is determined. The knight has a plan. They know what they're doing. They know how to get it, but they're not aggressive, right? This is a very strong, stoic kind of card. It's not rushing in. They're in a very good headspace. They're playing intuitively. Sweden gets the Ten of Swords in the end. Not good. This is like, look at this guy. He's got 10 swords in his back. He has been stabbed in the back 10 times. From what I can say from this is that Japan has a terrible first half, but they regroup. They are regrouping and they come back stronger mentally. Sweden plays a great first half, but then they see Japan coming back and they have to battle it out. And in the end, they lose. These cards to me are very clear. I'm still going to do the Oracle cards though, but it's not looking good for Sweden. They're going to falter in the end. So Japan has the owl. Sweden has the mirror. The owl talks about wisdom, insight, and knowledge. I think that goes very well with the Fool card and the Knight of Cups. They're very wise. They have the knowledge and the insight to say, okay, this isn't working. Let's try something else. Sweden has the mirror card that talks about their own self-knowledge, reflection, and truth. I think the mirror card just says, you look in the mirror and you see what you see and you don't doubt it. I think this is kind of them seeing that they're not they're not they're not gonna they're not gonna defeat Japan. Like Japan has come back and really stuck it to them in a way with a bunch of swords in the back. Japan gets the vampire, Sweden gets the witch. Vampires are very draining. I think Japan plays very strong in the second half and really just they're not playing like aggressively, but they're tiring Sweden out. And I think that's what that is saying for Japan. Like they are uncontrollable, passion, draining. I don't think that Sweden can control them. And Japan has that kind of hidden passion underneath. The witch card talks about energetic manipulation, hex, and ritual. So in the beginning, I think the energetic manipulation is Sweden here, but I don't think it lasts for them. Maybe they end up feeling a bit hexed at the end, and they just cannot make it. They can't make it through the witch. The vampire takes over the witch, basically. So I'm gonna have to go with Japan on this one. I think Japan's gonna win. I think if they make mistakes in the beginning, they're gonna learn from them. They're gonna change their plan, and they're just gonna roll over Sweden in the end. So Japan for the win. All right, everybody. So that was the first three teams on June 25th. Please let me know who you think is going to win. Who did you pull cards on? Do you have any opinions about any of these cards? Let me know. Thank you for watching. I very much appreciate it. Having a lot of fun with this. Can't wait to get to that next stage. That's going to be rather exciting. And yeah, so thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. I really appreciate it. Please share if you know anybody who may be interested in this or may have some fun with this. And yeah, and thank you so much. Have a great day.